Welcome to another Quantum Conversation. I'm Loren Gailey, and I invite you to sit back as we enter the quantum realm, that space of the greater part of you. It is your connection to infinite possibilities, infinite potential, and infinite mastery.
Welcome, 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 beautiful hearts. How is everyone doing? We are here to raise our frequency right now, to anchor the light on our planet and truly radiate the love in our hearts. My guest today is Vivian Chauvet. She is an Arcturian hybrid, and she has come on this planet specifically to assist in this great shift. And boy, oh boy, the shift this year has been palpable beyond palpable. In prior years, we felt like an underling of energies swelling up, but right now it could feel chaotic, it could feel unsupportive. But this is where I like to say we're going back to basics. We're going back to the basics of our spiritual understanding of how we regulate our energies so that we can master those energies. And this is true planetary leadership, what we're talking about today. Hi, Vivian. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome.
Thank you, Lauren, and everyone watching. Always a joy to be back on the New Earth Network with you and your amazing audience. And speaking of shifts, yes, we are feeling it on so many multidimensional, multifaceted aspects. And this is why we need to really step into seeing ourselves as a leader in our spiritual evolution, a guardian, a conscious guardian for the planet, and how we've been asked. It's an opportunity to rise even higher than ever, as opposed to be caught up in the trap of all these myths, I would say, leading energies, interpretation, all of these layers of swirl. It's like, so yes, definitely, I'm super happy to be here and to bring this beautiful energy for the next hour, and how we can really support each other and individually in our lives, and riding alongside with Gaia to these wonderful changes. We have been waiting for this for eons, and here we are now, right?
All right. I love how you say that because the change that is underway it is so remarkable that if we don't have these basic skills of navigating our own energy, monitoring our own energy, monitoring our thoughts, we could really be buffeted by the storm. Let's call it a storm, because it's the old that is truly collapsing. And so, as we are here to talk about planetary leadership, if the old is collapsing, that's what we were waiting for. And so now we get to step into leadership roles, but this is not telling anybody what to do, but more of us mastering something within ourselves. What's going on? Can you share?
Absolutely. And that's a great premise right there. So being told what to do, it's part of the 3D old structures, the depleted timelines that we are used to be in obedience, to a government, file tax every year, whether it's to an employer, whether it's, growing up our parents, whether it's societal ideas. So all of these depleted structures, it's part of what you describe as the storm. It is a very, very necessary quantum transformation. And what it means is that it brings in on a quantum conscious level more space for true evolution and transformation to take place. So it's like, if you go back to a easy 3D example, if you're, I don't know, your fourth grade teacher comes to you today and says, you will obey what I say. And you will go, well, that's interesting, because I'm interpreting, my teacher's word on a whole different level. Well, this is where we are. This is where you are as a species. And I say that because we of the enlightened, spiritually advanced, intergalactic brothers and sisters that we are for the earth, we can see that huge catalyst of change It's what you may call a storm. It is the same phenomenon after a huge thunderstorm, and then there's rain and everything, all the elements seems to swirl with each other. Have you noticed that the next day, like the air is crisper, everything seems more vibrant, the color seems to be even brighter. Everything is something palpable that changed. Well, all these elements or the elemental coming together in that swirl of a storm is redesigning how the earth is connecting with the water element or fire energy to the thunderstorm or to the wind, and how it also helps to strengthening the roots of the trees or help them, some of them to transition, or it changes dynamic even of the air that we breathe. It's just a figure of speech here, but when we're stepping into that leadership role within ourselves, it's first and foremost to redeclare that I am committed to my spiritual and to my life journey. I'm renewing my commitment I have made at a soul level prior to this incarnation. So this is part of what the leadership is. Leadership in terms of how you're utilizing your mind, and we'll talk about that. The leadership of your emotions, the leadership of your expression, that leads also to the leadership of how you allow yourself to be fully authentic, genuine, authentic within yourself. I scream to the world, I am an ET being coming in a hybrid human form. I am not shy about it. Why would I be? This is who I am. This is part of my purpose. This is how I choose to serve. The prime creator of service to the earth, in service to humanity, in service to all life forms. And that also is helping in service to other aspect of creation. So I bring in, this is in my authentic self, this is who I am, whether it creates debates, whether it creates wonders, whether it creates fear or resistance or pushback or a storm, it changes nothing to the authentic aspect of my leadership. So this is the same mirror that is going on right now. And so we're going to need to understand what these release of these depleted, outdated, old structures has kept an entire species for generations into really minimal functionality. And you've been functioning in like only a fraction of yourself. And then you think you know what humanity is about, and we say, there's so much more to you. Let's unpeel the layers. So let's do that today. We're going to unpeel some of these layers to bring maybe new semantics, new ideas to really help in that sense. Does that make sense?
It absolutely makes sense. Thank you for that, because your words are actually an activation and they feel powerful. So I invite everyone listening to really feel the energy of that. When we can feel that we came into this planet for this purpose right now, to express our mastery, the feeling of that, it will elevate us. Yet there is an undercurrent of doubt and maybe disbelief, or maybe an imposter syndrome that I'm feeling, or anything. Maybe people are like, well, or a worthiness, or lack consciousness. And we can actually elevate right out of those. Now, the Arcturians always assist us with this, with their frequencies. And I'm feeling this right now with you, Vivian, and it's so wonderful. But this is where we can shift our feeling. Can you talk a little bit about like how you feel right now, stepping into your leadership? You know what that feels like. There's a certain confidence that comes from that. And then there's a whole bunch of creativity that comes with that. Moving through the lower density feelings as we get to the elevated feelings. What do you do personally? Or are you not wired like that anymore? Or can things still trigger you?
It is, and it's really all of it really good statement. And we'll talk about how to counterbalance this imposter syndrome, because it's a syndrome, it's an illusion, and the unworthiness. It's part of the quality, part of the virtues, or embodying the planetary leadership. But on the personal level, what I do is I return to my core. I return to my heart. So whenever I receive, let's say, for example, I'll give you a very clear example, and it's only one example of many. In the past, I have been harshly judged for my physical look. It's hurtful. And I tell the team, I said, well, humans sometimes forget who they talk to, and then they compare me to, what they think what is the standard of beauty looks like because of the filtering system, programming, movies, Hollywood, the influence of the Pleiadian, the influence of the tall Nordic and the blonde blue eyes, all of this. And I said, I come from a place where I look very ET to you, mixed with a genetic of certain lineage, mixed, put together. And it says, of course, I'm not here to win a beauty contest. I'm here to show you what your heart beauty is about. But I had to overcome how I was very harshly in the past criticized for my physical look. That's one thing. And then most recently, I offer a gift to humanity in my first documentary called An Arcturian Experience, the movie. Even though it cost me thousands of dollars out of pocket, I gift it for free. I gift it for free. And of course, there's been so many amazing comments, and others told me that my documentary was awful. So that was also very hurtful. But I have to tune in. So that leads me to answer your question, what do I do personally? So I tune into the feeling, I'm hurt. My documentary is an offering of love. It's a love letter. It's a cinematic journey of love and remembrance. And some people said that it's awful. So what I do is I tune in and I respect my heart. And of course, I always go back to my Arcturian self. And I will also tune in to the creator. I love to be in that omnipresence energy, what you will call the void. It's omnipotence. And I go back there. And I remind myself of the energy of Christ consciousness, which is unconditional love, unconditional compassion, universal compassion, the law of one. I go back there for me, and I heal my heart, and I restore, and I release. Now I said, now the next step for me personally is I want to understand where these people or that person who said something so harsh of something so beautiful, I want to know where they are. Only to understand, so I can maybe send them love and release both of us. So I'm being given permission because my intention is to truly understand, not judge, but understand. So I tune in and I can feel a consciousness, and I can feel a heart, the hurt, the pain in their hearts. So it's no longer a hurtful comment to me. It's a reflection of the pain they feel in their heart. They are unable to receive the frequency of love. The heart is too wounded. So what they do, they're going to reject it through the mind. Okay, so that's important what I'm saying right now. It's all tied up with planetary leadership, because that needs to be a reversal of it. The more your heart is healed, strong, and take the leadership in your life, even as a human being, as a divine being, as a leader for your planet, as a caretaker for this earth. And the mind can be retrained or redirect in ways that now I start to feel more in alignment. So if the mind has a judgment or as an autopilot, an old mechanism system of filtering out for you what you're seeing or unable to process, your heart will say, it's okay to mind. Let me give you my perspective instead. So this way, someone like that, or this group of people who say something so heavy for something so beautiful, they will no longer be in that discrepancy of frequencies and creating such a low energy, because even though the mind may want to say something like this, the heart will go, I'm in a different place. Let me show you. Let me teach you. So this is part very much of stepping into the planetary leadership, because you're starting to feel that you are becoming a clear conduit for cosmic sovereignty. And the more you're becoming a clear conduit for that cosmic sovereignty, you're starting to returning to be more living and vibrating in our with that universal, the law of one. And the law, and it's an energetic principle that many sentient life forms, many consciousness and beings across the multiverse understand very well. It's an omnipotence of energy. And so when we start to return into living in that harmony, we are stepping into the guardian consciousness. So again, you've seen the same documentary I put out there in a message of remind us of how we are interconnected, activations, cosmic origins, connections to our philosophy of the world, embracing diversity into oneness. Your perspective of it will change. Why? Because your receptivity to your heart will be open to receive the true frequencies. So that's a prime example of this.
And I absolutely love that, Vivian, because again, as we're talking about the feeling of it, that feeling is coming from our heart. Now, certainly there's negative, denser feelings from the wounded heart that we can feel. But this elevated feeling from the heart, when we truly, and listening to you just makes me smile ear to ear because I can feel my heart. I can feel that anchoring in the heart and radiating of it. It really does dispel all the other issues. And that again is the gateway that you're talking about. So it really is so beautiful. And, you know, when we're in this heart mind coherence, we could call it, where the heart is leading the mind will follow when our heart is open. And that feeling, wow, it's just so precious. It really is precious. That's actually one way to activate our DNA. So let's talk about how we can activate our DNA, this higher DNA, the dormant DNA. Do you have advice for us on that? Or is it really just being love? Are there more things to do? Do we interface our commanding thoughts with it to activate it? Or what do we do?
Well, it's leading up in that direction because that's part of the reascending into understanding not only the full ability of who you are, but also your full capacity. So in addition to what we just talked about, another aspect of the planetary leadership, it's understanding what mastery over mental and emotional functions allow you to redirect those synergy to connect more and to maintain a state of connectiveness to your higher self and a higher light, the higher light forces of transformation. In other words, that mastery, it's starting to, like, for example, the example I gave, if somebody hurts you, you're something fearful, you're doubtful about what you see, the more you're understanding these emotional function or stimulation, you're able to say, I'm going to choose to see beyond these instinctual or initial emotional stimulation, or what feedback or what the triggering me, or what is it is activating in me. So step by step, as you becoming more open to comprehend really what aspect of you it's trigger, and it's most likely nothing to do with what was said or an event or political changes, or it's something even more deeper, something, an ancient root that can be also leading you back to Atlantis, where you still hold a grudge or a fear around the capitalism, and there's a deep unconscious fear that is still lingering there. And anyone that seems to embody those who've caused that become a trigger point, whether it's through, a political face, whether it's, a teacher, whether it's an interview, whether it's someone who presents to you with love, or someone who may have been rude on the road to you because they are not paying attention because they're in an emotional swirl and they cut you off, and there you go, the trigger is there. But after time, it's what triggered you on the surface. It's really just the causality of it. You have to look deeper. So this is part of the mastery over mental and emotional function. Now imagine for a moment, just for a moment, imagine, feel it, that more and more you start to be in tune And that's part of being a master. You're starting to understand. So your level of responses and correction in energy going to start to become much more stable instead of being like a huge pendulum swing, right? Like depending on the flavor of the day, here you go. You're going to start to feel that you're much more what's called moving towards the neutrality state. And you have those fluctuations, but you'll be able to catch them, understand the decoding of what they are, and being able to create a course correction in your energy, balance, clearings, cleansing that emotion, or understanding the source point of it, which leads to your DNA. It's all interconnected because the more you're operating at that divine level of yourself in the sense of I'm releasing the level of illusions or detaching, unwinding the ability to comprehend the illusion and being able to be deceived so easily, you're starting to step truly into the mastery of your inner being. So the next step, connecting to your DNA on consciousness and being able to enter the akashic field of your DNA to understand what genetic markers or what strand or what is move shifting, what is awakening, what is expanding. It's almost like feeling like an old wound that is healing. Your skin start to expand and itch, and you can feel that. So you'll be able to start to get much more aligned with listening, opening a third eye, feeding to intuition. So the filtering system of doubt or unworthiness or feeling like, oh, who am I? And having the imposter syndrome has no longer any place in you. Have no longer any place in your inner space because you're stepping more in terms, I am listening to my DNA. I am feeling that some of these genetic markers are shifting, especially those of us who are, star seed, and we feel these connections. So it's really about the more we free ourselves from the pattern of suffering, loss, attachments, being entangled in the material world, the more that the language of your DNA becomes so accessible. You become really attuned to it. Suddenly you start to speak to trees and sing aura. You start to understand what your cat, your dog wants from you. And the same thing with your DNA. You really start to feel that there is an inner stability. And that's what we call tuning into your higher sensory perceptions.
Oh, wow. Okay. That is beautiful. Thank you. We're listening to that and we're doing that. You said so many things there, and I feel that the state of the planet is offering many people a wonderful opportunity to become aware of these genetic markers of this well, genetic marker is a good word, but I also want to call it like a genetic debris or a tainting of our DNA because of our experiences. And so recently, as much as yesterday, I realized, wow. And I realized it wasn't just in my DNA, but it was in someone else's DNA that I was entangled with. And that's why we were creating a reality together because of this distorted DNA. I don't want to say distorted DNA, but it was almost like we were feeding off each other because of the hurtfulness or the genetic markers in our DNA. And as I was able to tune in, I did realize, wow, that's my genes talking. It's in my DNA because it's not me. And so this is what more and more people are doing. And we try to talk about it. And I'm sharing this as an example so people themselves can understand what it is to understand, to listen to the DNA. So let's explore that because that's a really interesting catchphrase, listening to the DNA. It's almost, when you were saying when we're triggered, we trace it back because that trigger, it could either be a wounding in our current life, but oftentimes it could be in the DNA, right? Or past lives. And then you said it interfaces with it enters the Akashic field, and that allows us to see those DNA triggers. So when you're talking about listening to the DNA, does that come from when we're tracking the triggers? What more can you share on listening to the DNA?
Well, if you're too busy, if the mind is too preoccupied with what's happening in the world or what is on Facebook and being in your cell phone and the iPad, constantly doing research,
Uh-huh.
it comes to the point where the mental field becomes talking about debris filled with noise and debris and no longer is cohesive. There's no cohesiveness behind it. So I just want to make a quick parenthesis to what you share, Lauren. It sounds to me that between you and this other person, there's a feedback loop that
Mhm.
is also creating some type of umbilical cords of attachment. So it's a feedback loop. And it can be at a DNA level, but it's also looking more at the soul akashic level to see what is that feedback loop that we have put, or regenerated or recreate in this lifetime, and what timeline does it originate from, and what is really much the source point of it, right? For that feedback loop, I see that a lot. And the same thing apply with whether it's on an ancestral level and the genetic lineages through mother, father. And it's not necessarily that they're passing on gene to you. It's more in terms of soul group dynamics. So these soul groups, let's say that, you have had so many incarnations and you play so many roles for each other, it is possible that some kind of dynamic of a soul group was designed to really bring maybe hundreds of years of thousands of years of these feedback loops. And you are
Wow.
coming together, sharing or not sharing genetic material. It doesn't need to be blood family. It can be where you were adopted by a family, or you were, or it can be someone that is part of your soul group. But if you look at that level, I always says go back to ask the karmic council and the council of time that you want to understand any form of, loops, patterns, attachments, entanglements, anything that's repeating itself, especially between you and someone else, whether it's a family members, whether it's a next relationship, whether it's someone that is close to your field. And Astu says, okay, at this point, can we release each other from the role that we have agreed upon at a soul blueprint level, and allowing ourselves to bring completion on the soul history level? It can also release to the point that not only genetically, but also in your DNA, in your akashic field, in your subconscious field, and even especially releasing yourself from your timeline so your timeline can move on or evolve in a new direction. So there's many unique implications to what you described. So I'm grateful for you to mentioning that example. It's a beautiful one.
Thank you. And it's happening all across the board and always these days. It really is. It just seems there's a heightened awareness. When we do this work of mastery, we get to that point where we can start to see these things. And I love how you shared it's a feedback loop. Okay, so we know the work to do when we come up against these things. Really wonderful. So in our transmission, let's think about a transmission for our group in today's show. As we are radiating our heart light and stepping into our planetary roles, our planetary leadership, we really want to anchor in the highest new earth timelines. Maybe we can do something around that, or
Mhm.
I shall let the Arcturians come through you and they will lead us through a beautiful transmission as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome. And those transmissions are really an invitation for everyone to tune in and understanding, where am I right now on the journey? So the timeline of the new earth is accessible to everyone. It is simply, how could I say, to keep it open and attainable. It's a matter of resonance. So for example, again, part of the planetary leadership guidelines or the virtues is really to step into a higher mastery of your higher mind It's more in terms following spiritual impulses or spiritual guidance versus physical body desire aspects. So we start to move out, and you talk about realigning ourselves with the new earth. Well, the new earth herself, or this higher version of the earth, she is shifting back into her soul matrix. This is far more of the higher fifth dimensional experience that comes with the fifth dimensional aspect. It's more of a unified soul matrix. The third dimensional aspect of our soul experience has been more of a physical, instinctual personality matrix, understanding the lower me, having impulse, desire, instinct, physical gratifications or instant gratifications. And we learned that someone doesn't answer your text within 10 minutes, then they're not interested in you. And I'm like, what is this coming from? That's becoming almost like an impatience to the body. So we are releasing ourselves from everything it entitles to work or to even meditate or spiritually, exploring that field through a more lower third dimensional personality self. So everything that we say will be filtered out that way, because that's the timeline you're in. Gaia, in our consciousness as a beautiful conscious being, she's moving into a more reunified soul matrix aspect of ourselves. And that branch or that timeline is what you call the new earth. So in order for you to feel today that activation, we want to really help you to, okay, am I ready to release the impulses of that 3D personality self and embracing more the guidance and a higher calling of my soul matrix that is more a higher fifth dimensional dimension. So this is how we're going to approach this, but I want to give you some background first to understand what we're going to do and what is the purpose of it. And this is all part of the planetary leadership qualities or the virtues that we are inviting everyone to embody more and more. And I hope, this is why I want to bring some background before the activation. I hope that makes sense.
Yes, it really does. Thank you for sharing that. And we are ready to release the 3D impulses of that personality self. We are ready. Who's
Exactly.
ready?
Remember, one golden rule to observe, in addition to always take care of yourself, always. That's always number one on the list. One another golden rule or guidance is we never get rid of anything. It's an opportunity for a rite of passage. It's a graduation. It's a transmutation from a lower form to a higher form. Because that's going to be important as we are about to do this activation. Because if you say, I'm ready to get rid of all of it, well, your subconscious is going to create mechanism to put it in place. Because to the subconscious there's a loss, therefore your survival depends on it. I'm going to compensate for you. This is how intelligent it is. And well done, actually. So we need to coach every aspect of ourselves to says, now all system, all aspects are coming together and we are ready to transmute and elevate to the next level. So just a little, again, guideline, you never get rid of anything. That includes extra weight. You don't tell your body, okay, we're going to lose weight, going to get rid of it, because the body's going to stock it up even more. They're going to go, oh, we're in survival mode, everyone, red alert. I want to make sure you stay alive. I'm going to protect you. So body, we are ready to shed. Let's bring the next level of bring more energy. So let's take that extra fat into energy and vitality and well-being. Let's create that dynamic. That's how we need to approach this. Just again, the team says we want to make sure we're clear.
I love it. True alchemy within our genes and our system and everything. True alchemy. All right. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You're very welcome. So thank you everyone for closing your eyes and just take a moment to really feel your presence. And that means to honor your sacred breath, to feel as you breathe a little deeper and slower, honoring the language of your breath is the language of love, is the language of nourishment. Your breath allows the sacred cosmic energy flow to enter your lung systems, designed to transmute this oxygen into energy throughout your bloodstream, feeding all of your internal organs, rebalancing your internal body systems, including the endocrine systems, the nervous system, your vagus nerve, relaxing the energy from your digestive system, and much more. Just feel, honoring the sacred breath of life, this ancient language that your body understands. Remember, your body is intelligent. It knows what to do. Only the mind truly and your emotion can tell your body otherwise. So just feel as you're expanding this a sacred breath of life and nourishment, expanding also the intelligence field of your heart, also referred to as the torial field or the energy field. Just allow this wonderful, powerful, intelligent field of pure energy coming from your heart, expanding around you. And now the next breath, we invite you to see, feel, or simply experience the natural interconnections between your heart center and your solar plexus. The sacred interface of quantum intelligence, of the great wisdom of your heart connecting with your willpower, your center of true spiritual sovereignty. It is the home of your crystalline core of complete empowerment, supported in alignment with the intelligence, the discernment, and the wisdom of your heart. Just keep breathing, allowing to gently align. You may simply feel or imagine or visualize your crystalline core. That core part of you generate a lot of beautiful energy. It is a sacred portal, a universal portal of connection to the universe, to all there is. You're also receiving nourishment and life force energy through this portal from the universe. And take a moment to experience how your body understands this higher refined level of life force energy, nutrients, and allow your entire body as a clear conduit to reattune itself and all of its functions. When your crystalline core is open and strong within your solar plexus, in connections to your heart, there is no place for feeling unworthy, undeserving, feeling smaller than you really are, unloving, and any other form of repressed, step down emotions about the self, as well as others and Gaia herself. Take the time to strengthening your connections of your solar plexus to your crystalline core, to the gateway of your heart. At these levels, you start to shift. It means just feel your vibration start to increase. Can you feel you're starting to vibrate a little faster than you were? Generating more stable light frequencies. In other words, allowing you to feel the true power, the beauty, the strength, and the magnificence of your core frequency. And remember to breathe deeper, let everything flow with divine ease and divine grace. Invite your mind to watch your heart and your crystalline core reconnected like two ancient friends or ancient masters returning in oneness. And as you know and discover and realign yourself naturally to your core frequency, this is why you start to feel, even in your body template, that any form of third dimensionally based fear energies, experiences, chaos, uncertainty, seeing a storm for a storm without the ability to move beyond it, start to dissipate. Even your nervous systems will readjust itself as sacred universal gateways of light. This is where the release of the third dimensional lower personality self start to dissipate. You may still feel its presence and no longer leads your path. It no longer influence your body systems, your chakras, your mind. It no longer dictate to your heart what to feel, what conclusion to draw. It no longer has the space to interweave stories for you and about this world. Just keep breathing, allowing your vibration to continuing to gently increase, allowing your body a higher capacity and receptivity to hold more and more light and higher frequencies. Now that your senses are also in alignment with this renewed heart solar plexus realignment, your root systems also expand deeper to connect to the earth, Mother Gaia's grids, the very core and heart of the planet. And let your root system redefine what dimensional shifts, vibrational adjustments, movement in the timelines, solar plasma energy coming through, and any other form of changes and transformation the earth is undergoing. Let the earth grids guide the way for your root systems to readjust and adapt. Again, with more ease and with more grace. And in the presence of your higher self, this higher aspect of you, always in coexistence with you outside of your physical reality. And of course, our loving presence, us as of the Arcturians. We invite you to feel throughout your entire body systems, your intuitive centers, your heart solar plexus connections, to the reawakening of your third eye for new insights and greater visions, and through the guidance of your root systems to feel the difference between the release of the third dimensional reality, including the release of the third personality, lower self, identity, and shifting into the synergy of what you call the new earth, more aligning with the higher fifth dimensional energies, the corresponding frequencies, and a return more and more into reclaiming your soul identity that we call the soul matrix. It also contains the blueprint of all that you are. And today, through the grace of your heart and the empowerment of who you are, both as an earth human and a divine being, we invite you to make the declaration that this is how I choose to live every day. I remain functioning and functional in parallel to the third dimensional reality. I understand its mechanisms, its patterns. I also understand how convincing it may sound, feel, taste, and even seem. At the same time, all of my beings, my senses, my body systems, my heart, my solar plexus, and my root systems are now aligned with the new earth. This is why I choose to be body, mind, spirit, and heart. And just breathe into it. And remember that self-worth is implied because of who you are, which is an eternal soul of light, a child of the universe, a child of the prime creator. Nothing, no one has ever any authority over this profound nature of who you are. Everything else is part of your soul experiences. And as you gently integrating and feeling your clear decision today, you just have chosen a brand new direction. And allow every aspect of your life to readjust and readapt along the way with this conscious higher heart decision. There are no requirements of your clairvoyance abilities or your healing faculties. It has nothing to do with past mistakes. They are part of your karmic lessons. They are learned, the wisdom is earned. You are ready to move forward. So let's take a deep breath to integrate and release. And gently, when you are ready, we invite you to feel that you are returning in full consciousness back to your body, back to your center, reconnecting again to your core frequency within your crystalline core of your solar plexus. And to feel completely returned, refreshed, elevated, and inspired. You're now welcome to open your eyes. Welcome back. Yes, welcome back.
Welcome back to the new you, to this shift of our frequency. And this feels so good. This is what empowerment feels like. I hope that everyone is no longer feeling any of those lower densities. This is how we do it. Thank you for that, Vivian. And it's all inside. And I'm feeling expansion of the third eye. I'm just sensing more awareness of this, but yet there's more work that can be done. So thank you for this alignment, and we'll tune in. Is there anything that you want to say about how we could work a little bit more with the pineal gland, the third eye, and really open it more?
Again, keep it very simple and yet potent. No fear.
No.
The thing about a lot of people really ask us over the years, many, many people around the world, I can feel, I know, I'm a feeler.
Mhm.
Well, if you're clear are open to feel, to know what you know, claim it. Oftentimes, the third eye is also an old energies, has been holding back to the pineal gland because of these repression over the years and manipulations, and again, residuals, whether it's from Lemuria, Atlantis, Babylonia, lots happened there, or when Egypt started to fall into the distorted timeline, it will no longer unify, it became distorted, and so forth and so forth. It can be based on the ego personality acceptance. The thing is that just acknowledge your pineal gland as a natural part of you. It's a natural organic part of you. My third eye is a natural organic part of me. So as it becomes more natural, there's no fear. Do you fear when you breathe? No, it's natural organic part of being a human. You're breathing, you need oxygen. This is how your body brings the nutrients. This is why it's a divine language. Well, the same thing with your third eye. Well, what will I see? Will it be spooky? You will see what you need to see. The thing is that the more you are stepping into true spiritual knowledge and application, cultivation, embodiment, practicing, and less fear as empowerment in your field, the less space fear as in your field, the more light comes in. You may see things over time that, ooh, at first it was like, it really, I feel a chill, I feel an energy, I feel an excitement, I feel a curiosity. Then you are going to readjust. You're going to readjust. And one thing you can start with nature. Look at the diversity of insect. Oh, ooh, insect. Look at them. They're very fascinating. I have attuned my third eye so much that I can look at different form of life, and I find them beautiful, intriguing, and really, and I will look at them and just really tune in. So you can start by what is available on the planet. What's available through, let's say, something you've heard, a concept, or somebody says there's a meteor coming in. It's not a meteor, it's a spaceship. Tune in, look to my third eye and my heart wisdom. Show me, what is the truth? What is happening behind this huge commotion around a meteor disguised as a ship? What does it mean? How does it impact me and the life around me and on this planet? Was it done out there to get more clicks and to get you hooked into that? Ooh, what's going to happen? I want to know. That's where you can start to get a mastery of releasing those lower instincts, so you can utilize your curiosity field to decode, to learn, to investigate, to reflect upon. And then a discernment comes. So your third eye, it's all interconnecting with that spiritual knowledge, your consciousness expanding. Again, the less space fear as in your field, the more light can interact with you. And you start to demystify what seems to be so mysterious and unknown and spooky. There's really nothing spooky. It's what we made of it, really. And when we start to decode and you start to get into the wisdom of your heart, you're going to go, I'm this ancient being. I'm very old and ancient. So at this point, I'm rediscovering, looking through the eyes, through this ancient soul that you are, and being able to understand that you're coaching your human side to get reacquainted with what is more natural than it seems. This is why we prefer to promote a more natural, organic empowerment rather than superly charged with technology and gadgets and plugs and software that can speak for you. no software can speak for you. No one can know you more than your natural, magnificent light, your higher self, your multidimensional self. You have everything you need. This is why your third eye is just one element of it. So there's no need to fear your own self anymore. And that's the strong message for today.
Wow, thank you. That is such a beautiful message. And again, I'm inviting everyone to really feel, check in with how we feel right now, because this is what empowerment is. And this is what clarity means. This is what discerning of truth. So I love that. Beautiful tips. And also, this is helping us trust what we get, trusting what we get, what we see, what we sense, what we feel. And we are only going to get stronger at that when we practice it. And then there's going to be no more question or no more doubt. The doubt that we may have that creeps in will creep right out. It'll dissolve away. And I love that. I think this is worthy of a sticky note or a mantra for everyone. I am an ancient being coaching my human side to get reacquainted with my magnificence. That is so beautiful. And this is uplifting. And so for our show today, we have shifted. I truly hope everyone is feeling this shift. We're going to stick around after this broadcast end and do a quick little after party so you can ask your questions to Vivian. But before we go, I know you're going to want to work with Vivian. Vivian does these transmissions often. And here at New Earth One, we've got a number of them in a bundled package for you. But there's one coming up next month, coming up here, and you can register for that now. This is decoding the language of polarity. So just like we did this transmission today, we're going to become neutral. And this is really key because we can see when we wake up and we can come in and come into alignment, but we can take a look around us, or my goodness, look at the news. And that can instantly drag us out of it because our triggers, right? And I want to say, for those who are really bold enough and courageous enough, look at the news and watch how you're triggered. Because when you look at the news and watch how you're triggered, just what Vivian said today, that is an invitation to us to go inside and clean up some DNA, to shift some DNA. And wow, when we begin to realize things about ourselves, that right there is the greatest awakening of all. So tell us a little bit about becoming neutral and decoding the language of polarity.
Yes, it's very much intertwined with the activation you received today and everything we shared. It's understanding what polarity itself as an old matrix really means and start about to tuning to the sacred art of emotional language and communications. We're going to also explore the seventh level of consciousness that also influence our perspective, our filtering system, and to know that each of these level of consciousness, it's almost like you stepping into a new dimensional spiritual a new dimension of awareness. And it really is, these level of consciousness become a dimension of awareness, understanding what they are and how it can really help us to really make that change and becoming completely at ease to navigate through these changes and transformations. So we're going to explore that and how it supports you directly on your journey in your life, whether it's having issue with a sister, a brother, a parent, a family dynamic, or things that still sometimes hook us in. And when we become aware of these beautiful level of dimension of consciousness, we're able to decode the language of others through their filter system and understanding to listening on a whole different level. So we're going to move into that. I'm going to do activations. We're going to explore these dimension of consciousness, how to apply them. And like we received today, we always add an experiential activation comes with it. And really understanding what does your soul come to do? What is the full spectrum of this earth experience? and especially in relations to our DNA that is shifting, or we shifting in relationship. Like I came as an ET being to connect with human beings and says, hey, we have a whole community of star beings who want to connect with you, and you are their ancestors, and they are your ancestors, and you have something in common. There's a mirror effect that you need to remember. So I feel like it's pretty much on point of where we are, and especially where we're moving into, and we are at the end of the year 2025. It's a year of very potent, deep, profound changes. There's so much planetary alignment with the central sun, and different planetary alignment, where there's a lot of movement. So coming back into understanding the vibration of all of these dimensions of consciousness, how it affects our languages, how it helps us to detach more, and returning into living in a more peace, balance, and you can see the storm swirling around you and go, okay, I understand what it is for. I understand its language now. And so you know what to do more. You know when is a time to say something? When is a time to hold a space? When is a time to send healing? When is a time to, bring a level of support and assistance? So I think the timing of it, I asked my team and they said, oh yeah, we need to bring it. It's perfectly in alignment. Plus, we feel it's going to be received and understood at a whole different level, because everyone, we have shifted so much with each other and on the planet and even in the solar system. So I'm very excited to offer this beautiful opportunity of decoding the language of polarity with the level of consciousness we're going to explore.
Wow, thank you, thank you, thank you for that. These events that you do and the transmissions are very uplifting and elevating and vibration raising, and we walk away completely changed. These tools are significant, and we are so grateful for that. We are becoming masters. We are becoming masters, and we're taking this wisdom. We receive this wisdom, we apply this wisdom, and then we are masters in our lives, where we can then step up even beyond planetary leadership. We can offer a hand up to those who need it as well. So step into a new dimension of consciousness. Join Vivian for this beautiful class that's coming up. You'll find the link for this in the Zoom description chat box, and also on the YouTube where you are watching this now. The link will get you there. We're really excited about it. Everything's recorded, and if you can't join live, you'll be able to get that, download it, and listen to it repeatedly, and really reap the benefits from a transmission like this with the Arcturians and Vivian Chauvet. And I want to say that there is another option. Vivian, there's an additional 8 workshops. So this workshop will be included in an option for a bundle, and we're pricing this bundle at a very significant price. It's so wonderful. You're going to get 9 of these classes. And this includes interdimensional grid system. That was our first one that we did with you, Vivian, and that was really cool. Brain states, brain waves, and chakras, how they're all related. We're you have one on DNA encoding and higher consciousness, going more into what we talked about today, how we recognize those genetic triggers, those genetic markers, and clean them up. And then Arcturian holographic group healing. That was a beautiful transmission. You even go into pineal gland cosmology, and that's another wide, comprehensive course that's mind expanding and very beneficial. Evolving Human Cosmic Blueprint is another class. Each of these are 2 hours long and so beneficial and helpful. We have the Masterpiece of Ascension, and then we've got 12 Ascension Virtues in a workshop. So those 8 courses are available, and the decoding of the language of polarity is included when you purchase the bundle. Thank you for that, Vivian. What a nice body of work, and a way for us to elevate and work with the Arcturians even closer. So you're coming close to your mission on the planet, and we are so grateful. And we are each stepping into our own missions as well. And so for that, I am grateful for everyone being here and showing up, because this light that we carry is absolutely why we came to the planet. So, Vivian, we're going to stick around in an after party. Everyone on Zoom, after we play this closing music, stay with us, because we're going to be chatting with Vivian and hanging out. It's going to be really fun. So, would you like to share any final thoughts or words of inspiration at this pivotal time on our planet?
I think that the statement we made earlier really bring new perspective of what is possible. And of course, I also invite everyone to watch my new documentary, because that's going to be another beautiful journey in itself. And so we're very grateful to be of service, and we will continue to expand alongside your consciousness and this planet. So more to come.
More to come. Congratulations on that documentary. Again,
Thank you.
it shows us what we can each do. You don't even have to own a camera anymore with our iPhones, we can do everything. So congratulations on that documentary. Where can we go to find that?
My documentary is also on my website. So
Okay.
Infinite Healing from the Stars.com. On the front, on the homepage, you scroll down, there's a section just for the documentary. When you click on it, it is embedded to my YouTube channel. So either way, either my YouTube channel or there. As I mentioned, as my first film, I'm going to be doing a second one already, and I want to release it for next year. But for now, the first one I really want to offer as a gift, especially, as a thank you for every soul who's been so brave, and humanity has sustained so much over the years alongside with Gaia and other life forms. So want to bring that to everyone.
So beautiful. We're excited to watch that as well. Congratulations. And again, I want to say to you, thank you for being so bold and courageous in sharing your story. It is not easy, but you are a role model for all of us, as we are all galactic. And as we remember our galactic aspects, we step into our mastery even more. So happy journeying, everyone. And thank you for joining us. I'm going to shout out to those on YouTube. There's a link in the chat on YouTube to join us, and join us on Zoom as we have our short little after party. And for this, everyone, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your light and your love. We love you. Namaste. Bye.
Thank you for listening to this quantum conversation, and thank you for dancing with us to the cosmic heart. As we raise our own vibration, we raise the vibration of the planet. This show is dedicated to you and all awakening hearts, as we are here to shine our bright light and amplify our love. I'm Loren Gailey, and from my sacred heart to yours, I honor your magnificent love and light. This has been a presentation of New Earth One Network, your home for New Earth living. Access information, education, and videos on living from the heart in unity consciousness. Visit newearth1.com.